Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Spidey, webhead. No matter his nickname, Spider-Man is always here to help New Yorkers in trouble. Welcome back to the Leaderboard. Today we'll swing across the story of Marvel's Spider-Man and its sequel Miles Morales, so you're ready to dive headfirst into Marvel's Spider-Man 2, coming out this October. Before we go any further, hit that like button and subscribe to the Leaderboard so you don't miss our next videos. It's now time to suit up and grab your web shooters as we're about to take a closer look at the story of Peter Parker and Miles Morales so far. The original 2018 Marvel's Spider-Man follows the story of the most popular Spidey of them all, Peter Parker. This 23-year-old research assistant was bitten by a genetically modified spider 8 years ago, giving him superpowers he uses to fight crime across Manhattan. Peter helps the NYPD arrest Wilson Fisk, a powerful crime lord known as Kingpin who wants to control all of New York. Soon after this arrest, Spidey learns about a break-in at an auction house where Fisk's valuable art collection is kept. As he rushes to the scene, he runs into his ex-girlfriend, Mary Jane Watson, who's investigating the break-in as a journalist for the Daily Bugle. MJ finds a file containing information on a substance called Devil's Breath, but masked gunmen soon appear and steal the file. Peter decides to investigate the identity of these masked gunmen and goes to Martin Lee, the employer of his Aunt May and founder of Feast, an association helping the homeless. Lee tells Peter that these masks belong to a dangerous criminal organization called the Inner Demons and that he and MJ should stay away from them. Peter resumes his daily activities and takes off his Spidey suit to work as a lab assistant for Dr. Otto Octavius. As the two work on components for a new artificial arm, Mayor Norman Osborn comes in and shuts down the lab, confiscating Octavius's assets and ending his grant. With no more funding or equipment, Octavius can no longer pay Peter as his lab assistant or continue his groundbreaking research. Spidey continues to fight crime in New York City, bringing down some of the Inner Demons operations alongside NYPD officer Jefferson Davis. The two attend a rally for Osborn's re-election campaign with Mary Jane, Davis's wife, Davis's son Rio, and Miles Morales. As Davis receives the city's Medal of Honor and gives a speech in front of a cheering crowd, Osborn receives an anonymous call threatening to destroy him and the city. A few minutes later, Inner Demons attack the rally with suicide bombers, killing many of the attendees, including Davis. Much to his surprise, Peter discovers that the mastermind behind this attack is no other than Martin Lee, the founder of the Feast homeless shelter and the very person who had warned him against the Inner Demons. Lee happens to be the leader of this criminal gang and has the power to harness negative energy, earning him the nickname of M-Negative. Peter attends Officer Davis's funeral and meets his son, Miles Morales. The two will eventually become friends, and Miles will help Peter and his Aunt May give a hand to those in need at Feast. Meanwhile, to protect the city against the Inner Demons, Mayor Osborn hires Silver Sable and her mercenary company, Sable International. Sable doesn't really like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but Spidey is used to having enemies. Peter continues to track down Lee and the Inner Demons to find out their next move. He finds out that Lee plans on using the Devil's Breath, a lethal bioweapon inadvertently created by Oscorp. Peter and MJ managed to thwart Lee's plans as he tried to deploy the Devil's Breath in Grand Central Station and destroy the entire city. Lee is arrested and sent to the Raft, a high-security prison for the most dangerous criminals. Meanwhile, Dr. Octavius is not done with his research despite Osborn shutting down his lab. He manages to create 4 mechanical tentacle-like arms that he can control with a neural implant. Octavius reveals to Peter that he and Osborn used to be friends and created Oscorp together before Osborn got obsessed with genetics and began a project Octavius deemed unethical. He left the company, with Osborn giving him grants so that he could continue his own research. Octavius manages to control his 4 mechanical arms by using the neural implant, but it begins to corrupt his mind. Octavius becomes Dr. Octopus, filled with hatred for his former partner Osborn. Dr. Octopus attacks the Raft and frees all of its prisoners, including Mr. Negative, Electro, Vulture, Rhino, and Scorpion. This group of supervillains takes the name Sinister Six and shares the same goal of destroying Osborn and his city. Dr. Octopus and his allies steal the Devil's Breath and release it in Times Square, infecting many people, including Peter's Aunt May. The city falls into chaos, and Osborn declares martial law, blaming Spider-Man for these events. This doesn't stop Spidey from trying to help the city, and he successfully defeats Electro, Vulture, Rhino, and Scorpion. Mary Jane sneaks up to Osborn's penthouse to look for a cure for the Devil's Breath outbreak. She finds Osborn's secret lab and discovers that the Devil's Breath was created in an attempt to find a cure for Osborn's terminally ill son Harry, who happens to be Peter and MJ's best friend. Mary Jane learns that Martin Lee was a test subject for the Devil's Breath, which granted him his powers. However, this test didn't end well as Lee accidentally killed his own parents, fueling a lifelong hatred against the one responsible for giving him these powers, Osborn. MJ locates the antidote and Peter goes after it. Unfortunately for our heroes, Octavius stops Spidey and takes both Osborn and the antidote, leaving a badly wounded Spider-Man unconscious on the floor. Sable helps Spidey get back on his feet, and MJ reunites with Peter. Unbeknownst to her, Mary Jane accidentally carried a genetically modified spider from Osborn's lab, who now roams freely in the Feast building. And who happens to be moving a few boxes in this building? Miles Morales. Miles gets bit by the spider, which will lead to the events of Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. More on that in a few moments, but let's finish Peter's story first. Peter builds himself a new armored suit and goes after Octavius. He manages to defeat the villain, saving Osborn and securing the cure. However, the quantity isn't enough to both save his critically ill Aunt May and give the doctors enough material to produce a cure to save everyone else affected by the virus. Peter bids an emotional farewell to his beloved aunt, who reveals that she knew he was Spider-Man all along. May gets buried next to Uncle Ben. 3 months later, New York is back to its normal state. Peter and Mary Jane decide to give their relationship another try, and Miles tells Peter that he gained spider-like powers, so Peter reveals to his friend that he is Spider-Man. The last scene from Marvel's Spider-Man shows Osborn in his secret lab promising to find a cure for his son Harry, who's floating in a tank filled with a black web-like substance. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales takes place about a year after these events. Peter's been coaching Miles to master his new Spidey powers, teaching him how to swing between skyscrapers and defeat those who dare commit crimes in New York City. As he escorts a prisoner transfer to the rebuilt raft, Miles inadvertently frees Rhino and other prisoners, who wreak havoc in the streets. Miles and Peter manage to stop the bad guys, giving us a first look at Miles' bioelectric powers. Even if Miles kinda messed up with this prisoner transfer, Peter tells him that he has to leave the city to join Mary Jane and Symkaria for a few weeks, trusting his fellow Spider-Man to protect the Big Apple in his absence. Miles investigates a break-in at Roxxon Plaza, a building belonging to the powerful energy conglomerate Roxxon. A gang known as the Underground wants to steal Roxxon's new experimental energy called Nuform. After stopping the Underground from snatching that power source, Miles comes home to celebrate Christmas with his mother, Rio Morales, and his best friend Genki. His mother surprises Miles with an extra guest, Finn Mason, a really close friend of Miles when the two were growing up, but they got estranged after enrolling in different schools. In his adventures as the sole Spider-Man in New York City, Miles can count on his best friend Genki to give him a hand. He provides Miles with technical support in his missions and developed a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man app to help him locate current crimes happening throughout the city and allow locals to call Spidey if they need a hand. The first one to use this app to call Spidey for help is Miles' uncle, Aaron Davis, who reveals he knows his nephew's identity as the new Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Miles' mom, Rio, is running for a city council seat. As Miles and Genki are attending one of her campaign rallies, the meeting is interrupted by an attack from the Underground, who states that Roxxon's leader, Simon Krieger, is a killer and that the Underground will not let it stand. The Underground attacks Roxxon's guards, who were at the rally, so Miles suits up to stop the fight. As Miles chases after the Underground to stop them from stealing a shipment of Nuform, he meets their leader, the Tinkerer. Much to Miles' surprise, he discovers that the leader of the group he's been fighting against is no other than his childhood friend Finn. She's been leading the Underground to avenge her brother, Rick, who was poisoned while working on the Nuform for Roxxon. As he tried to warn Roxxon's boss, Simon Krieger, about the dangers of this new energy source and asked for this project to be shut down until they could figure out how to protect those working on it, Krieger didn't care and covered up these issues and began public testing. Rick and Finn broke into Roxxon's lab to shut down the Nuform reactor before it could hurt anyone else, but the pair got caught by Krieger, who killed Rick. Finn's goal now is to destroy Roxxon Plaza with Nuform to show the world the dangers of this new experimental energy. Miles pretends to be interested in Finn's activities to infiltrate the Underground and find out more about their plans. She eventually discovers his identity as Spider-Man, the one thwarting all of the Underground's plans. While the two talk it out and try to save their friendship, they're captured by Roxxon and their new enforcer, an enhanced Rhino. Miles discovers that his uncle Aaron, who also likes to wear a fancy superhero suit and gets called the Prowler, spies on his nephew for Roxxon while making sure nothing bad happens to the young Miles. Thanks to Aaron's info, Simon Krieger made modifications to the new form reactor to blow up all of Harlem should Finn succeed in her plan to use it to destroy Roxxon's plaza. Miles and Finn manage to escape and run into Rhino, who taunts Finn about her deceased brother. Enraged, she tries to kill him, but Miles intervenes and stops her. That doesn't calm her down though, quite the opposite, and she beats up her childhood friend, warning him that the next time he gets in her way, she will kill him. Genki brings a beaten up Miles home, who's still wearing his Spidey outfit when his mom comes in. He reveals that he is indeed Spider-Man and that Finn is planning on attacking the plaza with the underground. While she is obviously worried about her son fighting against all the villains crawling around New York City, Rio reassures Miles that she will support him no matter what happens. Miles, Genki, and Rio prepare to evacuate Harlem in case Finn goes through with her plan and ends up inadvertently blowing up the neighborhood. As Miles is on his way to stop Finn, he gets captured by his uncle Aaron. Aaron takes Miles underground to prevent him from dying from the explosions, as he can't stand the idea of losing his nephew after already losing his brother. However, Miles doesn't see things the same way. He refuses to let hundreds, if not thousands of people die just so he can save his own skin. A fight ensues between Miles and Aaron, with Spidey defeating the Prowler and escaping to stop Finn. Inspired by his nephew's behavior, Aaron joins Rio and Genki to help them evacuate Harlem. Miles finds Finn as she's about to execute her plan and detonate the new form reactor. The two childhood friends fight and the reactor becomes unstable, blowing up part of the building and threatening to destroy the whole area. Miles saves Finn from the exploding building and tries to use his bioelectric powers to absorb the new form energy and reduce the blast. As he successfully manages to absorb this high quantity of energy, it is too much for him. Miles asks Finn to evacuate those standing nearby as he won't be able to hold the energy much longer, but Finn decides to sacrifice her life to protect the city. She activates her Tinkerer boots to climb up the building and leap to the sky, letting Miles unleash the energy far away from the city while in her arms. As Finn dies from the blast, Miles falls from the sky, revealing his identity to a few locals who decide to protect Spider-Man's secret. 4 weeks later, Simon Krieger and Roxxon are arrested thanks to information leaked by Miles' uncle Aaron. Peter Parker finally is back in New York, and the two Spider-Men continue to protect the locals together. And that wraps up the story of Marvel's Spider-Man so far. According to the story trailer for the upcoming game, the two friendly neighborhood Spider-Men will have to face new enemies, including Kraven and a villain in a bear suit that could be Grizzly. The most interesting part of the story trailer, though, is the return of Peter's best friend Harry, who we last saw floating in a tank in the secret lab belonging to his father. Coming with him is one of the most iconic enemies of Spider-Man, Venom. So what's next for Peter and Miles? Will Harry be a good guy, or will Venom change the face of New York forever? We'll have to wait a bit more before finding out. Will you be playing Spider-Man 2 on day 1, or will you wait before swinging across New York? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more gaming content.